So I was babysitting the other day, as I tend to do, and I realized I'm an adult now.
How'd you come to that conclusion?
How did I come to that conclusion? Well, not willingly. So, I mean, when you're babysitting, like you get to eat the kids will have like pizza and mac and cheese, so you get to eat the pizza and mac and cheese, and then we'll go down, we'll watch cartoons like hell yeah, SpongeBob for the next 6 hours. And I went to go put the boys to bed, and I pulled out a book. We were gonna read a bedtime story, and I don't know why I thought to do this. They have like a little nightlight that plays music,
Oh, that's
and
annoying.
it's adorable. It is annoying, but it's adorable. And they can't sleep without it. And I thought, okay, let me shut off the lights and put on this nightlight, and I will read the book via flashlight. I'm like, that'll be fun. And
Mistake number one.
mistake number one. And so we're there, and boys are cuddled up next to me, and I go to read, and I have the flashlight on, and the oldest gets up and goes, Miss Lauren, there's a monster! There's a monster in the closet, Miss Lauren!
Ooh.
And then his little little tiny guy, starts freaking out, a monster, there's a monster! And like, me, I'm like, great, I'm the adult. I have to be the one to either tell them there's no monster or like get the monster, you know? You're the one that needs to get like the spider out of the bathroom. And we're in the dark, and I'm like, oh shit, these kids are seeing something that like I'm not. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to be the adult here. I mean, if this is like they see someone creeping in the window, I'm gonna have to be the one to take care of it. I'm like, oh shit. So I flip the flashlight, and I'm shining it around the room, and they're screaming that there's a monster in the room. They are absolutely freaking out. And then the dogs are going crazy because they hear the boys screaming. I'm like, oh shit. So I flip on the lights, there's nothing there. Long story short, it was the reflection off my glasses they were seeing. But then, like, I get them to bed. They finally go to sleep. I had to tell them, like, some bullshit story about, like, ghosts and monsters, and, like, they have an agreement with each other to, like, not mess anything up, and, you know, that worked for them. It didn't work for me.
You could write a whole, like, kids book on that.
I'm working on it, but
Okay.
I go downstairs to the basement, and that's what I tend to do when the boys go to sleep. I go downstairs to the basement, and I'll put on something, and I'll start working on a project or whatever. It depends on how much time I have. And I go downstairs, and the dogs are sitting with me, and they have, like, there's the basement, and then there's, like, a cellar, like this dark room, and I have been scared of it ever since I started babysitting. And this dark cellar with, like, a lock on it, and I turn, and I see the door is unlocked.
Oh!
And for some reason, like, my idiot monkey brain who loves horror was like, oh shit, that's how the monster got out. And I didn't want to go over there and, like, lock the door and, like, put the key away. There was a key also. There's, like, a key fob. I didn't want to, like, put that away because I'm like, that's a horror movie.
That's how they get you.
That's dumb bitch mistake number one in a horror movie is you go in and you unlock or you go to lock the door and it reaches out, grabs your arm. So I'm like,
You're on, like, dumb horror movie bitch mistake number, like, 7 right now.
yeah, I know that now. So I'm sitting there. And why is it every house I babysit in always has, like, a big open window with no blinds on it?
Oh, the bay window?
Yeah, the big bay window. It's usually in the kitchen. There's no blinds on it. So, like, at this point, I am, like, condemned down into the basement. Worst place to be. Because I just don't want to go by that open window. And I've got Invader Zim on full blast. And still scared. Like, as the adult, I have to pretend I'm not scared of the monster that may or may not be there. And you have to play it off. Like, the mom came home, and she always comes in, like, real quiet. But the dogs will, like, go ape whenever she comes in, so the dogs start going ape. I'm like, oh Christ, I'm gonna die.
It's the monster.
It's the monster. You know, you're sitting there. You have to but you have to handle it with, like, that amount of dignity. If you do, like, you can't be the mom comes in. Oh Christ, it's the monster.
Like, you just, like, subtly shit your pants and, like, go about your day.
Yeah, just subtly shit your pants and go about your day. And what made it worse, she sends me on my way, and I'm in, like, my tiny ass little car. And, like, again, with the headlights that barely work, and I've got all the lights on in the car, and I'm driving, like, you know, as fast as I can just to get home. All the streets are empty at this point. That's how late at night it was. And, like, I realize the closer I get to home, oh shit, you know, I have to be the adult again, and I have to open the door for myself. Because that's what adults do. And I'm driving, I'm like, ah, shit, you know, the monster's probably in my backseat right now. You comfy, buddy? You know how, like, when you're scared shitless, but you don't... Do you remember that time we were driving back from the fabric store and we had that really weird conversation with that one guy in line? Or, like, we overheard the weird conversation, then he talked to us and we were freaked out. And we were driving back and we started talking about, like, that one really scary episode in every kid's cartoon. And we are driving home. It is 8 o'clock at night. It is, like, pitch black out. And we are, like, in your thin-ass little car.
I think I still had the van. Hold on.
Coming to every stop sign we could. And, like, and that was the thing. There's, like, a big-ass black void behind us, which is just car seats. But I remember, like, we brought up scary episodes of Chowder, scary episodes of whatever.
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. And I always remember you saying, like, you remember this episode that starts with a red curtain and Marge steps out from behind it and says, like, now tonight's episode is a little special. It's very scary. And if you have little ones, this would be the time to put them to bed. And if you're a faint of heart, you know, go do whatever.
Oh, I just got chills. Like, I'm gonna get the heebie-jeebies later when I have to edit this down.
Here's the thing. I had to tell, or I didn't have to. I was relaying the story back to Mom and brought it up, and I am in my own room, and the sun was going down while I was telling this story. And this is, like, months later. And I had to get Anna to turn the light on for me because I didn't want to get out of bed. I'm like, okay, now I'm a little scared. And I came upstairs I was going to tell you this story. This was the first time I was going to tell you this story. And there was an episode of South Park on, a really creepy episode of South Park. And there are, like, only 2 other times I have been that scared in my life. The first being when I first watched The Human Centipede.
Oh! When
I was 15. And I had to have Mom walk me to the bathroom and sit outside with me. And the moment I mentioned Human Centipede...
That movie sticks with me.
She had House of a Thousand Corpses flashbacks. So she actually went and she sat outside the door with me. And then the other time was when I first watched Backwater Gospel and then Francis. And those were 2 short films. Scared the... Like, I watched Backwater Gospel first, and then I had to watch Francis and Hugh Mademoiselle in order to feel better. Scared me. I remember, like, staying up all night. I had to turn on the light and, like, sit in the center of my bed. And then when the sunlight, the first rays of dawn shined upon in my bedroom, this was before I had curtains in my room, I got up and I went upstairs. And Mom is like, you look delirious. I'm like, I am. I'm scared shitless. And I tried relaying, you know, like, some of the plots to these movies to her. And she made me ramen and was like, oh, you can go sleep in my room with all the lights on. So I did. And I only got like 2 hours of sleep.
You know what I love about everything you just said?
What's that?
Was that you started the story by going, this should be fun.
This should be fun.
Followed by, and then I realized I was the adult.